Welcome back, YouTubers. This is Omar from Near Mint Condition, and today I'm going to show you my haul for August of 2018. So stay tuned. As you probably saw from the beginning, I have a lot of Fables hardcovers. I decided to upgrade and bought them used on the Omnibus Collectors and Swap Facebook group. So I'll probably spotlight a couple of these and then show each cover. Here we have Volume 1, the Dust Jacket. I believe everything under the Dust Jacket is, just the original art without the title and the wording. It's pretty cool. I'm a huge fan of Fables, and if you've never read Fables, here's Volume 2. You need to check it out. It is awesome. It's not Once Upon a Time, but it is Bill Willingham and Mark Buckingham, who I always thought was a great inker. But turns out the guy's a phenomenal artist, too. A phenomenal penciler and inker. He used to ink a lot of Chris Bachalo's stuff, but he's the one that does most of the artwork in these books. Just give you a quick rundown of the covers here. These wonderful James Jean covers. So what the series is about, a bunch of characters that are known as Fables that have been kicked out of their world by the adversary and now living in New York City. Like Snow White and Briar Red and the Big Bad Wolf. But it's so much more than that. And I will say, it wasn't until trade paperback 3 that I was hooked, so that would be book 2. Because each one of these books contains 2 trade paperbacks. For me, it wouldn't have been until the Deluxe book, Volume 2, that I would have been hooked on this book. This is actually one of my favorite stories. So I'm glad that DC followed through and decided to release all these in deluxe editions. This is the crossover with Jack of Fables, and they are starting to release the Jack of Fables stories in hardcover edition as well. Here's book 11. Now, knowing my luck, they will probably end up releasing an omnibus edition of these because I just bought these. So, I don't know if I'll be triple dipping. Maybe. Knowing my dumb ass, I probably will. And what's that? So they are releasing the Jack of Fables in hardcover. There are 2 out so far. I only have Volume 1. It's coming up here. And I assume there's going to be 4 of those, or 5. And I don't know if they'll do the other series, the Fairies, or the Fairest, or I can't remember. Cinderella, I think, had her own series. Here's the Jack of Fables book, Volume 1. These are oversized and they're nice. They're the size of the Rebirth books. Actually, here's a quick comparison. So yeah, they're the size of the Rebirth book. It's as tall as the Omnis. Being a huge fan of Fables, I had to get those. Now, speaking of Rebirth books, here is Wonder Woman, Deluxe Edition Volume 2, containing the remaining Greg Rucka stuff. So sad to see him leave. And I don't know if they'll do any more Rebirth Deluxe editions of Wonder Woman. Here's what the inside looks like. Some great Liam Sharp artwork. That guy has gotten absolutely amazing. I love his artwork. So dark and gritty. I can't believe Marvel didn't pick him up for the Conan relaunch that Jason Aaron is writing. But, oh well. Means he's staying with DC. And here is Batman by Doug Moench and Kelly Jones. And this is just a standard hardcover. Not oversized, which kind of sucks. But I really enjoyed this book. This was really cool because I haven't read some of these stories. This is after the time I stopped reading comics, after the 90s. But it's really cool to see Kelly Jones' art inspire the writing. It's just so wicked because they kind of play off of each other. A lot of dark stories and horror stuff, so a lot of Man-Bat. So it's pretty cool to see some of this stuff, and I don't want to flip too much through here, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of Kelly Jones. I know he's one of those guys that's hit and miss with people. Like, most people hate those Nightfall covers, but I think his internal work is just awesome. There we go. We got more Batman. Batman, the Caped Crusader, Volume 1. That is a Todd McFarlane cover, by the way, and I think he reused it in Spawn. So this collects Batman 417 to 425, and then 430 and 431, and I think annual number 12, which one of the best Batman stories, I think, by Jim Starlin. A lot of Jim Starlin in here. So why does it skip issues? Well, that's because DC expects you to buy the Death in the Family, which I think was a deluxe edition, and then there's a trade paperback A lot of Jim Aparo artwork here, which is where Joker kills Robin, the Jason Todd Robin, with a crowbar, and for some reason they did not include it in this, just like they did not include Year 2 in the Dark Knight Detective. But I'm still picking them up because this is really cool that we're finally getting a collection of post-Crisis on Infinite Earths Batman for the first time. Beggars can't be choosers. And especially this book right here, The 10 Nights of the Beast. This is the first appearance of who I think is one of the greatest characters, the KG Beast, created by Jim Starlin. That trade paperback was out of print for many years and got really expensive. So I'm glad they decided to reprint it in this. So I hope they keep going with this. Volumes 2 of this and The Dark Knight Detective have already been solicited, so at least we're getting those. Keeping in the DC tradition, we have Aquaman by Peter David, Volume 2. Some of the greatest, you know what, no, the greatest Aquaman stories ever, I think. In my humble opinion. We just did an old reader, new reader, where we read Jeff Johns' New 52 Aquaman, and while I really enjoyed that, I think this to me is the definitive Aquaman story, Peter David's run. This is some of the artwork. That costume. But yeah, this is great stuff. I read this when it was coming out, and then I reread it back probably about 10 years ago when I got the comic books out, and I can't wait to reread this. This is one of my favorite runs. Yeah, this is just some great stuff in here, and I hope they continue this because I know DC has a way of canceling books because they don't get enough pre-orders, but this is just one of the best runs that Peter David had in a comic book, and I hope they keep going with this. I got this based on the Fangirls symbol. They are doing a review this Sunday of this book. My buddy Jess Bragg got this, and I looked at the art, and I fell in love with it. I had no idea what the story's about, but I know I wanted in. So this is Heathen. It is by Natasha Altarecki and Rachel Deering. I believe Natasha, I know I'm not going to repeat her last name, I'll butcher it, is the writing and the art, the color and everything. And Rachel Deering is the letterers. So this is just wicked. I love this art. Now there's some not safe for work panels, of course. But yeah, just looking at this, no idea what the story's about, but digging the artwork. And that is by Vault Comics. Last month I picked up something called The Lighthouse by Paco Roca, and this is his Wrinkles book that was recommended to me in the comments after I did my video. So thank you everyone that recommended me this book because I just picked it up. It's really awesome. I just started reading it. I'm a huge fan of the artwork, and so far the story seems to be pulling at my heartstrings. It's about a son dropping his dad off at a nursing home because his dad has a real bad case of Alzheimer's, and he's forgetting just who he is and where he is and how old he is. And it's a horrible disease. Much like the case in God Country, but I don't know where this is going because I haven't finished reading it. But it is a really nice book. It's hardcover. I got this on Amazon, so it got dinged up. This was supposed to be like new with a remainder mark, but that's the chances I get. So I may re-gift this one, or just give it to a friend and buy it again. Speaking of gifts, Eddie, thank you so much. My last video I did a haul of Gantz. I picked up so many, and I didn't realize that I was missing 37. And you messaged me saying that you went to your comic book store and they had it, and you weren't the only one. There were a couple of people in the comments below. That was really awesome. So this is the final volume of Gantz. They're starting to release these in Omnibus format. I don't want to flip too much through here because this is the final volume, and I haven't read it yet. But yeah, these are coming up in Omnibus formats, 2-in-1s. I don't know the dimensions of them. I can only assume that Dark Horse is going to release them in this same size, the same height, so a lot thicker. And if you haven't read it, they're a lot of fun. Violence, boobs, action. I don't know what else I can say about Gantz. And if you want to check it out, I suggest watching the movie. It's on Netflix. It doesn't do the main story justice, but you kind of get an overall feeling what it's like. Based on my buddy Gio's Suggestion, I got Good Night Poon Poon. This is volume 1. This came from In Stock Trades. This was part of the damage sale that they had, but I see no damage on here at all. So this was at 50% off. I've heard a lot of good things about this, but he kind of sold me on it, just talking about it and what it's about. So it's about this little guy right here who goes to school, and that's all I know. That was enough for me to buy it. I have no idea what the rest of the story is going to be, but I'm really digging the artwork. While the main character looks ridiculous, everybody else looks amazing. And Asano is just one of those mangakas that for some reason I haven't followed yet. I know he's got a lot of stuff translated over here in English, so I can't wait to read this book and see what all the hype is about. Finally, after years of waiting, got a funny story about this, or sad story rather. Here is the Osamu Tezuka Kickstarter from DMP. This is the one that came out last year, early last year, not late last year. There's the other ones with the Wonder 3 that still haven't come out. This is the God of Manga. So this is Melody of Iron and other short stories. Actually, most of these are probably short stories. This is Record of the Glass Castle. Here's some artwork. Just love how he is just all over the place with some of these stories, from sci-fi to historical to just fantasy. I mean, the man could do anything, and he produced so much while he was alive. It's amazing. Here's Under the Air, and let's see here, some art from here. Yeah, the God of Manga for a reason. Guy is just awesome. So this is the story. I originally kickstarted this probably back in 2013, I think, and then that guy just took all our money, and that was the end of that. We couldn't do anything. He got like $58,000 to bring the creator over to America. So then DMP decided to do a Kickstarter, and of course I backed it, and then my credit card didn't go through, and I missed out on the Kickstarter. So I got it from the group again, from the Facebook group. Now, these are available already if you want to buy them. They are available at akadot.com, and you can purchase these there. So you don't have to go to the Kickstarter way or go to eBay anymore. These are finally available in physical format at that shop. Now I'm just waiting for my Wii 3 Kickstarter with like 10 other books, I think. At least we got an update a couple of months ago. Or, I'm sorry, a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. This is a collection of short stories. I have been waiting years to read this, so as soon as I got it, I cracked it open. As you can tell, the spine's already starting to crease a little bit, but, I mean, it's a soft cover. You get what you pay for. And it's Osamu Tezuka here in English, so I'm okay with that, because I'm actually reading these things. Now, I did an overview of the X-Men book. So if you want to check that video out, it's on the channel. Just go back a couple of weeks. And here is Letter 44, which I did a review with the Omnibus on Omnibus Live. Let's compare it to the size of an Absolute. This is Absolute Superman, All-Star Superman in its box. And yeah, book's absolutely taller. No pun intended. Probably the size of the 6 gun. I believe there's going to be 3 of these books. There's the spine and the back cover. The story itself is pretty interesting, but what kind of took me out of the story was the artwork. Not a huge fan of the artwork. It's just not consistent for me. Some of the poses look ridiculous at times. Some of them look normal, but I don't know. I was not a big fan of Albuquerque's art. The designs of the aliens and the technology was, I don't know, left a little more to the imagination. I didn't really dig it. But the story kept me going, and I'm interested in what happens next, so I'll probably pick up the next 2 volumes. And here is 7 Soldiers by Grant Morrison. This is the Omnibus that just came out. It is gorgeous. This is one of my favorite stories leading up to Infinite Crisis, and this was rumored for a long time to be the first post-Infinite Crisis book, but that was not so. Look at the spine as it lays over. Yeah, that's good. It's the first time I've actually had it really cracked open. Mr. Miracle. I love the way that they print this, by the way. This is printed in reading order. So it's not like all of Mr. Miracle number 1 through 4 in one bundle, but it's spread out across. And I'll show you why. So this is J.H. Williams from issue 0. And what's really cool about this is that J.H. Williams has an awesome style, but he also is able to mimic everybody else's style that draws the rest of the book, like Doug Mahnke and Fraser Irving and Pasquale Ferry. It's really cool to see it just come together. There's, you know, and Bianchi. But yeah, this is Seven Soldier. If you've never read this, you need to check it out. We're also going to be doing a review of it on Omnibus Live if you want to check out that channel. And that was my haul for August of 2018. I'd love to know what you guys got, so please leave comments down below. I always love to hear from people and always reply back. And I have a couple of art books coming in next week, so I'll probably do an overview of those, particularly the Metal Gear art book. And don't forget to check out the Omnibus episode where we talk about Letter 44 and Seven Soldier. And don't forget to check out our weekly show every Thursday where we talk about anime, video games, manga, comic books, and toys. Again, this was Omar, and thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.